Yeah, so let's continue with
Sanjay
the
wanted,
purpose.
therefore, to the despondent king and assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjay therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhan, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Dronacharya to inform him on the real position. Although Duryodhan is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to his commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhan's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas.
So here, Sanjaya is trying to say, Sanjaya Vachan, that um, just because Sanjay knows he's a devotee, Sanjay is a devotee, he knows what's the outcome going to be. But he wants to give encouragement because he's, after all, a servant of Dhritarashtra. So he's saying that to give him encouragement that, oh, okay, Duryodhan is going, he's going to go speak to Dronacharya, and this is what's going to happen, just to encourage somehow Dhritarashtra. Okay.
पश्येत्तं पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतीं च मूम्
Pashyaitam Panduputranam
Pranam
Acharya
आचार्यमहतीं
Mahatim Chamam
Kamchamam
व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता
Vyudham
Yudam
Drupata
Drupad Putrena
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Vimata.
So if you're reading the English, so if you're reading the Hindi, then it'll be just half a line. Like the English, we can repeat line by
I was
line.
reading
So it'll be easier.
Sanskrit,
Okay.
no problem.
Translation.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. Duryodhan, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmin commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with the Queen Drupad, mother of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Draupad performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benedictions of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahmin, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets with the son of Draupad, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhan pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhan also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat.
So what is Duryodhan telling to Dronacharya, and why? Why is Duryodhan speaking these words to Dronacharya?
Because when Duryodhan saw that in the opposite side the military formation was greatly arranged by his own disciple, the disciple Dronacharya. So he said that after learning from you only, we behold this how expertly they have arranged the battle, the what you say, arrange
Yeah.
the battle. Yeah. So everything is very nicely performed, nicely arranged, and this is also said that Dronacharya taught this Vidya to his his disciple Drupad. Putra. Drupad, son of Drupad is Drishtadyumna.
Yeah,
Dronacharya taught,
And also he shouldn't be partial toward the Pandavas.
yeah. Then later
yeah.
that, yeah.
Shouldn't be partial. And also because everyone knew that this Drishtadyumna is actually going to be killing. Um, he was going to be born. He was born to be able to kill Dronacharya. And yet he still taught him everything he knew. He taught him whatever knowledge he had. So Duryodhana is also pointing out that, this person, he's supposed to be killing you, and you've taught him everything so nicely. So much intrigue is there, in this Mahabharata. Mahabharata. So yeah, and that he shouldn't be lenient towards Arjuna. So he's warning Duryodhana already. Yeah, thank you. You can read the next one. I'm not sure if anyone else wants to read.
I can read.
Okay.
Atra Sura Mahesh Vishasa Bhimar Arjuna Samayudhi.
We'll repeat, Neetu. You read one line and then we'll repeat the other. Yeah. Atra Shura Maheshwa Asha.
Yeah. Bhimarjuna Samayudhi.
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi.
Yuyudhana Virasatascha.
Yuyudhano
Yuyudhano Vratascha.
Drupadascha Maharatha.
Drupadascha
Drupadascha Ratha.
Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virat and Drupad. Even though Drishtadyumna was not a very important obstacle in the face of Dronacharya's very great power in the military art, there were many others who were causes of fear. They are mentioned by Duryodhana as great stumbling blocks on the path of victory, because each and every one of them was as formidable as Bhima and Arjuna. He knew the strength of Bhima and Arjuna, and thus he compared the others with them.
So yeah, Duryodhana, he is a great politician. So he's making sure that Dronacharya is going to give his full. It's making him aware, oh, these are the strengths of our enemy, and we'll see later how he's going to, point out the strengths of his own army. So he's really a politician. Continue reading.
Drishtaketu's Chikitana.
Drishtaketu's Chikitana.
Kashirajashcha Veeryavan.
Kashirajascha Viryavan.
Purujit Krunti Bhojascha.
Purujit Kunti Bhojascha.
Sebescha Nara Pungava.
Sebescha Narapungava.
There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chikitana, Kashiraja, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja and Saibai. Yudha Manyascha Vikranta.
Yudha Manyuscha Vikranta.
Uttamajascha Viryavan.
Uttamajascha Viryavan.
Sobhadra Draupadeyascha
Saubhadro
Bhadra
Draupadi
Draupadiyaschcha
Sarva Eva Maharatha.
Sarva
Eva
Eva Maharatha.
There are mighty Yuddhamanyu, the very powerful, Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra, and the son of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Go to
Asmakatam tu Vishishtaye
Asmakam tu Vishishtaye
Tannanibodha Dvijjotama
Pani
Tan
Bodha
Nibodha Dvijuttama
Nayaka Mama Sainyasaya
Nayaka
Nayaka
Mama Sainyasya
Samjana Tan Ravimete.
Samjnartham Tan Bravimite.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Bhagwan Bhishmascha Karnascha
Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha
Kripascha Samimta Jaya
Kripascha Sammitijaya
Ashvatama Vikarnascha
Ashvathama Vikarnascha
Somadati Tathaivacha.
Saumadati Sataivacha.
These are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwadhama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, called Burisrava, who are always victorious in battle. Duryodhana mentions the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhana, Ashwadhama is the son of Dronacharya, and Samudati or Burisrava is the son of the king of Bahalikas. Karna is the half brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya's twin sister married Dronacharya.
So now Duryodhana is pointing out the great personalities on his side.
Yeah. Anyache Bhavasura
Anyecha Bhavashara
Mada Arthe Tyakta Jivita
Madhate Yata Jivita
Nana Shastra Praharana
Nana Shastra Praharana
Sarve Yudha Visarada.
Sarve
Sarve
Yudha
Yuddha Visharada.
There are many heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. As far as the others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Kritavarma, and Shalya, all are determined to lay down their life for Duryodhana's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukṣetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. Duryodhana was, of course, confident of his victory on account of the above mentioned combined strength of his friends.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah. Aparyaptam tad asmakam
Aparyaptam tad asmakam
balam bhishmam virakshitam
balam bhishma virakshitam
paryaptam tiv edam itasam
paryaptam tva idam etesham
balam bhima virakshitam.
Balam Bhima Virakshitam.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Herein, an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhan was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained.
So the envy of Duryodhana is always obvious of Bhim, He didn't like Bhim specifically. He knew he was like really his competitor. And now he's comparing, he's saying, yeah, although they are good and Bhim is strong, but yes, no comparison. We have Bhishma on our side, So let's read on.
Yeah. Ayaneshu cha sarvesu
Ayaneshu cha sarveshu
yatha bhagam avastita
yatha bhagam avasthitam
bhishmam eva virakchantu
Bhishmam eva virakshantu
bhavanata sarva ihahi.
Bhavanta sarva eva hi.
sarva eva hi.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Duryodhana, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Deva was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhana clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Deva. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Deva and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in a helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice, while she was being forced to appear naked in the presence of all great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that these generals would now completely give it up as they had done during the gambling performances.
So Duryodhana, because he was saying, oh, we'll surely win because of Bhishma Dev is there. So the others might think, oh, well, if you're going to win because Bhishma Dev is there, what are we doing here then? So he's like, no, you all are very important. You all have to, because he may get engaged in battle on one side. So you all have to protect. So we can see it's like, being a good leader, kind of, giving a motivation talk so that everyone fights in whatever position they're supposed to fight to the best of their ability. Also, what else is pointed out here about Dronacharya and Vishwadev?
That they were fond of each other. And also they would surrender now as they had surrendered during the time of Draupadi. I
Yeah.
mean, they wouldn't speak now they would support the Kauravas.
Yeah, so he was confident that they are going to fight to their best ability and they will not side the Pandavas. Okay, let's
Another?
continue.
Yeah, anybody wants to read?
I can read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shilpa, can you help me and then I can follow you with the
Sure.
Sanskrit?
Tasyan Sanjayan Harsham
Tasya
Tasya
Sanjaya
Sanjanam Harsham
Guru Vrita Pitamaha
Guru
Guru
Vridha
Vridha Pitamaha
Simhanadam Vinadyoche
Sinanadam No Goche
Shankam Dadamo Pratapavan
Sankham Dadmo
Sankam Dadmo Patatavam.
Translation. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grand desire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Purport. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson, Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection.
So that's because Bhishma Dev, he is a pure
Yes.
devotee of the Lord. Yeah. So what are we trying to hear in this verse?
Bhishma
What
is
is
trying to tell his grandson Duryodhana that maybe he is confident, but he's telling, or he's telling him, I guess, yeah.
directly by
Maybe he's
his
thinking,
blowing
yes,
of the
yeah,
conch shell,
yeah.
he's expressing to him what is he informing Duryodhana?
That he had no chance of victory in the battle.
Why?
because on the opposite side Krishna was there.
Yeah, the Supreme Lord Krishna was there. Okay. Reading on. Tata Shankascha Bhairyascha
Tatha Sankascha Bhairascha
Panvanaka Gomukha
Panavanaka Gomukha
Sahaseva Bhaya Hanyanta
Sahasevya Bhaya Yanta
Sashabdastumolo Abhavat
Sasabdamalo Bhavat.
Translation. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
Tata Shveter Hayer Yukte
Tata
Mahati Syandane Sthito
Mahati Sena Sthito
Madhava Pandavastreva
Madhava Pandava
Divyo Shankha Pradad Tamatuho.
Divyo
Shankar Pradat. Translation. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Purpose. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Dev, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side, because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu, Putranam, Yesham, Pakshe, Janardanam. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu, because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there, because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds.
So here, why is Krishna called as Madhava here?
Because he is the husband of the goddess of
Goddess of fortune. Yeah, so what's the
fortune.
specific? So what's being predicted?
They had no hope of victory because it was very transcendental, the sound of the conch shell.
Yeah, Krishna's conch shell is called transcendental. No such name is used when the Kurus were sounding their conch shell. And he's being called here Madhava, husband of goddess of fortune, because wherever she is, there's all good fortune. And so wherever Krishna is, God fortune is always there. Husband and the wife is always following the husband. So this is also indication that the Pandavas will be victorious because the husband of the goddess of fortune is there with them personally.
And that
And also another
chariot,
reference is made to what?
chariot was also given by fire god, and it was so capable that they couldn't lose this battle also.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
was-
Yes, thank you. Panchajanyam Rishikesho
Panchajanya
Panchajanyam Rishikesho
Rishikesho
Devadatam Dhananjaya
Devadatam Dhananjaya
Pondram Dadmo Mahashankam
Pondro Dadmo Hashankam
Bhima Karma Vikodara Vikrodara
Bhima
Bhima
Karma
Karma Varkodara.
Translation. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panjana. Arjuna blew his. The Devadatta and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. Purport. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesha in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his sense. The impersonalist cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. But he directs. The Lord situated in the hearts of all living entities directs their senses, but he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity, and in the case of pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukṣetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjuna, and thus his particular name of Rishikesha. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudana because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. His name is Vasudeva because he appeared as the son of Vasudeva. His name is Devaki Nandan because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashodanandan because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. His name is Partha Sarathi because he worked as charioteer of his friend Arjuna. Similarly, his name is Rishikesha because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukṣetra.
So, what is Prabhupada explaining to us? Why is Krishna called Rishikesha here? What is the significance?
He is a master of senses.
Rishikesh,
he
master
could
of senses.
And
Yes.
he could direct the senses of Arjuna also here in this verse because that's why Rishikesh was mentioned. That
Yes.
he can of Arjuna.
And also all the living entities are part and parcel of him.
Yes. Yes. So who are the living entities? That's us.
Yeah.
Right? So we are part and parcel of Krishna. And so therefore, who does our senses actually belong to?
Krishna.
To him.
Krishna.
Yeah, they actually belong to Krishna. Yeah. Because he is called the master of senses. That's his position. And we have the senses. So he's the master of our senses. So then Prabhupada is pointing out that, the school of thought that there is no God will say, okay, we have to stop, no seeing, no eating, like stop all the senses. But that's artificial. We can't do that. How can we stop seeing anything or eating anything or even speaking? The mind will think of something. So we engage all the senses in the service of the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesh. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Rochyate. Engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses will give rise to devotion. That's pure devotional service. Pure devotional service. Engaging the eyes in seeing the deity of the Lord, in reading the scriptures, the ears in hearing about the glories of the Lord, hearing his names, the tongue in speaking the glories, speaking his names, tasting prasadam. Yes. The hands and legs and cleaning the temple, cooking for the Lord, doing service for the Lord. In this way, can engage the senses in the service of master of the senses. And that's what the pure devotee does. And because the pure devotee is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, is completely engaging all his senses in the service of the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself is taking charge of those senses. Because he's, after all, the master of the senses. Is that all right?
Yes.
So, reading on.
Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjaya in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhima is known as Vrikodara because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks such as killing the demon. So the particular types of conch shell blown by the different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there were no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor that of goddess of fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shell.
So we also heard that what Krishna's names, why these different names are there for Krishna?
Depending on the activities he had done.
Yeah. depending on his different pastimes. That's right. What are some examples?
He killed the demon Madhu, so Madhusudan, Keshi Nandan, Keshi Sudan, and Devaki Nandan, Vasudev. These are the names.
Yes. Thank you. And then what is Arjuna referred to here and why? What name is
Dhananjaya.
Arjuna referred to? Why?
There is a story behind this that before, long time before, when they were having battle, so after winning that battle, they got that wealth, the gold and everything. So Arjuna got this wealth and he gave it to his elder brother. So that's why he was called Dhananjaya.
Yeah. That's right. And what about Bhim? What's his reference?
Vrakodara, he is very voracious eater. He eats so much and his tasks are very, very powerful. That is Herculean. And killing Hidimba, she was a demon. So killing her and so many tasks he had done. So his name is Vrakodar. And there is a Agni in our stomach that is called Vrakodara. Udar means stomach, Vrako means Agni. So it's like Vrakodara. Because he was voracious eater. Eat so much, that's why he was called Vrakodara.
Very good. Thank you. Now, can someone else try say what were the names of the conch shells? The different conch shells have and who they belong to?
Lord
Is there in the
Krishna's was
translation?
Panchajanya. Arjuna's was Devadatta, and Bhima's was Poundra.
Yes, right. Thank you. Thank you. So all this is giving an indication that Krishna is there, goddess of fortune is there. So for sure, the Pandavas are going to win. So it's almost time. We'll stop here for today. This might be a little longer, right? Is that okay?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Hare
each
Krishna.
and every one of you, for
Hare